Shalom Israel. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakdash, the Barnes, the Apostles, and those great millstone for teaching us His truth, peace, and blessings to hope like Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father in Hebrew. Bahashem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in lesson, and today we're going to be touching on all the chaos that has been erupting and taking place all over the world, as has been seen over there in China, and ultimately what's to come to America, man, aka Babylon the Great. And also another main point I'm going to be pushing is take these warnings serious. To those that are continuing to disregard these warnings, struggling enough, and taking these things as a joke and as a game, we're in some very evil and serious and scary times, man. These things are not to be played with, and y'all that want to continue to play around are going to face severe consequences, man. And are going to deeply regret not seeking Yahweh Bashim Shai and repenting, man. Because very, very soon, the Lord is going to take the word away, and y'all won't be able to seek Yahweh Bashim Shai. Y'all won't be able to find out the names. And even if you do find the names, it's going to be too late. That's going to how they're going to call upon the Lord, but He's not going to answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. Roughly paraphrasing. But let's get on the main point. I do want to play this quick video right here just to go on the situation that's been happening over there in China this past week. And then, all the chaos that has been going on over there. And ultimately, once again, what's to come to America. As you have, people in hazmat suits, blow-torching doors to keep them shut, to keep people in. This is what's coming to America. And people are taking these things as a joke, man. As a game. Oh, that's not going to come over here to America. That's not going to happen. Hey, you're going to face the harsh reality very, very soon. So I'm going to play this quick video one more time. And get two quick articles to also go into the situation that's happening over there in Illinois with the purge law. A chaos is going to erupt, man. And y'all that are not under the hedge and the protection of Yahweh Bashim Shai, you are through. Once again, going back to the main point. Repent and seek the Lord, man.
走，这个你没有办法支配啊，上火龙，小伙子，口罩戴好，拿开。走，这个你没有办法支配啊，上火龙，走，返工是吧？信我，走，返工是吧？啊，你返工是吧？小子，好了。
哎，你们能不能不要这么暴力啊？就说句话的时间就不行吗？
Yeah, I believe they put him into an isolation camp, as you've been seeing multiple videos coming out of all these different so-called isolation camps that they have made and have, which is just another name for FEMA camps, and that's what especially they have over here in America, man, and what they're going to be throwing people into, thinking that, these devils are not going to come kick down your door, especially with all the things that they are creating and have in store, coming to times of Jacob's trouble, in these last days that they're going to be putting to use. I mean, it's going to get better here, man. And without Yahweh Bashim Shai, you are through, man. But now they're starting to dial it back a little bit over there in China, I believe.
China is finally
starting to, kind of lift the restrictions a little bit. But it doesn't change the fact, what has went on over there, man. But can be charging these few articles. Says that the authorities will step up control. We're next for China after protests, and now it's no coincidence that you see over here in America that they have given authorization to use killer robots for so-called worst-case scenarios, especially now they have been planning and wanting to implement a purge law over there in Illinois, to where they're going to release criminals without bail. They don't make these movies for nothing, man. And it goes to show their future plans and things that they want to do. But you've been seeing, once again, the chaos that has been erupting over there in China. Just an example and a sign of what's to come over to America, man. And it's going to be even worse, man. Especially with all the digital direction that they have went over there in China. What's getting another step towards what's coming over here in America, man. The foundation, the infrastructure has been laid out. But that's another topic for another day. But it says, since Xi Jinping came to power a decade ago, China's Communist Party has enacted a sweeping crackdown on civil society. Independent NGOs have been shut down. Journalists and human rights lawyers arrested. And outspoken media tamed. Meanwhile, the government has invested heavily in a massive surveillance system to keep track of citizens, movements, and activities, as I was just kind of mentioning. I haven't even read this yet either. But going back to this, I believe I had this one video on my camera roll, but going into just what they have with all these different cameras that can track and scan people's faces. They especially have things at the counter, where you go out to pay, where you can use your face to pay and all that. So you see the direction that this is being built up towards, man. A more digitized system, a digitized society, man. But given their emphasis on national security and stability, party leaders would have been shocked, therefore, by the nationwide protests that broke out on November 26 in opposition of Z019 policy. Demonstrators demanded an end to lockdowns and mass testing, and some even called for removal of the party and Z himself. So these uproars, these protests that you saw, just go a little bit into that, but dive into the other article, go into this purge law that they have been wanting to implement over there in Illinois, and actually maybe in other locations also. But the purge law will spark terrifying crime spike in city, already hit by troubling wave of deaths, prosecutors warns. And it's not no coincidence that you have been seeing also many police officers quitting their job, being laid off, and also these robots that these devils have been creating and are planning to use, and now they have been given the authorization to use these killer robots. I mean, it is clear, man. It is clear as day of just the chaos that's about to erupt and go down, man. As you saw, once again, the title right here, the authorities will step up control. I mean, come on. Though that's over there in China, that's what's come over here into America, man. Chaos, what's it called? Order out of chaos, man. Caused all this commotion in order to, so-called, what's what we're looking for? Bringing in the so-called solution. But really, when the Illinois law officially called the Safe T Act, yeah, right. So it eliminates pretrial cash bail as Chicago sees a massive total crime increase of 37% from this time last year. Rep. Patrick Windrows, and I believe Chicago is also one of the worst places, in America. With all the shootings. As you see right here, a little examples of crime spike. The purge law will spark horror crime spike in Chicago after a wave of deaths, expert warns. Once again, no coincidence that they are implementing and giving authorization to use killer robots. I mean, it is clear, but let's dive into these quick scriptures. Just a quick lesson through the Spirit, Luke 21:25. And there should be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, as we're seeing these signs in the heavens. I recently made a lesson, as well as many other brothers have touched on, going to that, what appears and seems to be, Yahweh Shai, looking like that, in space. You can look at my channel as well as many other brothers, but and there should be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, which we are seeing. And upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, you're seeing that people tensions are high, especially against the government, man. As you see over here in America, I believe a few months back, you had people want to overthrow the government. Want to take up arms, vote on a poll to go against America. I mean, hey, terrible times are coming, man. And upon the earth, distress of nation with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. You're also seeing hurricanes and all that, man. More end time signs. Because Jeremiah 37, one of the main points. As I said, the last 7 days great, said none like it. It's even the times of Jacob's trouble, the time of our trouble, man. Specifically for 2/3 of our people, but those that are in this faith and this truth will be tried and will be tested also. Okay, it's really being made known in these last days who truly believes and who truly has faith in our power, man. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. As you see, a lot of these so-called prophets are being revealed, man. IUIC, ICPK, a lot of these guys are being exposed, man. And you should know by now who are the true teachers, man. Who are the true prophets. But his life is room time. Alas, for that day is great, certain is like it. It's even times of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. How about Shemau Shai is going to defend and protect his men coming these last days in the midst of all this chaos. But we're going to be tried and we're going to be tested also. 2nd Ezra 16:18. Tad March was the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. You're seeing famines brewing, especially with the famine of the word, with all the things that they're doing with Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, and how all these so-called anti-Semitic remarks that were made are so damaging and are hurting the people's feelings. Start making algorithm changes and all that. And ultimately just using them in order to demonize the word, this truth, the ministry. You know, you can see what these devils are doing, man. But it's the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So we're in some very evil and scary times, man. And once again, those that are not under the protection, under the hedge of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, you are through. You know, because once again, Yahweh Shai is the only way out. You know, the only exit. I can read a little bit more on the upper verses. Now it says, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment." So all these things are of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, man. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. You know, our people are continuing to see these things that are happening and going on all over the world, and completely taking these things as a joke, especially these warnings that are going out. You know, Jake is being warned and told of these things that are going on and what's to come. And guess what? They're still not going to turn from their wickedness. You know, because ultimately our people just want the excuse to go out and party and do whatever they want. Go back to Matthew 24:37, as in the days of Noah. You know, Jakes can continue to live their so-called day-to-day life. You know, thinking everything's all normal, fine, and dandy, until things are at the doorstep and they can't stop and they can't do anything about it. You know, while we were out here fearing Yahweh by Shemal Shai, putting in that work, applying, you know, what we know, keeping the law, statutes, commandments best for our ability, and seeking the Lord and fearing Yahweh by Shemal Shai, y'all were just playing around, taking things as a joke and as a game, and then get what's coming to you. Reap what you sow. I guess I get this right here also. 2 Ezra 16:21. "Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case." As you're also seeing a spike of inflation, which I may make another lesson kind of going into the prices skyrocketing, because I believe there's this photo of a box of tissues. You know, you have the price stay the same, and they decreased the size of the box and the amount of tissues that you get. You go into shrinkflation. But they should think themselves being in good case. You know, people saw the gas prices starting to stabilize. Things were so-called going back to normal. Well, watch this. "And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." So terrible times are to come. As it was mentioned in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, "For when there shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as develop upon them one with shout, and they shall not escape." There is no peace nor safety coming to this place, man. But destruction and death, that's what's coming to this place, man. 2 Ezra 9:1-4. Now it says, "He answered me then and said, Measure all the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest signs pass, which I have told thee before, and how we measure the times that we're in by the way these signs and these prophecies." You know, to measure the times that we're in. "Then shalt thou understand that then shalt thou understand that at the very same time when the heights will begin to visit the world which he made, risen be by the way of our Lord Yahweh Shai." Excuse me. Main point. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, which you are seeing, tons and tons of earthquakes have been happening and taking place. I believe over there in Mexico, China, and tons of other places, man, all across the world. You know, people are going to be saying, earthquakes are our day-to-day thing. Well, not on this scale, man. Not on this level, man. You know, people always look for the excuse to just shrug these things off, man. You know. Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, which you are seeing massive uproars, man. Riots, protests taking place everywhere, man. You know, a few months back, you had a ton of farmers. You're using all the tractors, blocking the roads. You even had the trucker strikes where they weren't delivering food, clogging up the highways and all that. I mean, come on. Verse 4, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of things from the days of before thee, even from the beginning." Now, let's dive into these few more scriptures I got. Let's get 2 Ezra first, as well as Isaiah 10:1 after that. 2 Ezra 15:15, because this is what we're seeing right now, as we speak. "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And what's the modern day sword? The gun. As you're also about to see civil wars erupt, as you've been seeing the constant division of the people, especially over here in Babylon the Great. With Roe v. Wade being overturned, you saw the protests coming with that. These the protests have been taking place with BLM, as well as many other things, man. Verse 16, especially against the government, man. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, which sedition basically goes to riot, uproar. among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes according to people that are in power, the people that are in authority. The mayors, the presidents, all of that. And the course of the action shall stand in their power. Verse 17, and a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. As you are seeing that heavy restrictions and lockdowns that happened and took place over there in China. Another example of what's come over here to America. I believe like last Thanksgiving, I'll be over there in New York where you needed to have, where they had checkpoints. You needed to show if you have been, positive or negative, with the 19 to be able to enter. So, I mean, it's only going to get worse, man. As you better see over here, Isaiah 10:1. Say, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, these draconian like laws that they're implementing. When you go to the word draconian, it goes into harsh, severe, strict. And that's what you've been seeing over there in China, to where they had robot dogs patrolling the streets, using drones to tell people to be quiet, to keep that spirit of freedom in check, And also you see them literally, there's multiple videos of them blow torching the door, man. So it's finna get bad. It is finna get bad, man. And these warnings are going out, and you can't say you weren't warned. Because once you have many people saying, that's not gonna happen over here in America. That's never gonna touch this place. America's better than it ever was. Hey, keep believing in that, man. This so-called American dream is the actual nightmare, man. Thinking these devils are trying to help you, trying to protect you. Go back to Isaiah 30:1-3. How the trust and shout of Egypt shall be your shame and your confusion. And a lot of Jacobs are going to learn the hard way to fear you, how by Shemal Shine, that these devils are not to be trusted. As you saw in that video, of course, this refreshed my whole page, but as you saw with the that video I played, going to these people in hazmat suits trying to yank that guy out. Throwing him in an isolation camp, which is once again another name for FEMA. But let's continue on to Romans 13:11, close out with this. And Lord's edifying, quick lesson through His Spirit, touching on all the things that have been, I won't say really all the things, but the main point going to the chaos that has been erupting, as well as what's brewing over here in America, man. Going to that purge law, and also these restrictions and mandates that are to come, as you saw over there in China. Just one example. But it says, and that knowing the time, now it's high time to wake out of sleep, for now is salvation nearer than we believed. So our salvation is nearer than we believe. We're closer than ever, to the kingdom. With all these prophecies and end time signs that we were seeing, it's just more steps to us getting out of here, man. To the kingdom being established, and exciting times, man. And also scary times, because those that, once again, don't take heed and that don't repent are going to face severe consequences, man. Yahweh Shema Shai is finna lay the hammer on this place, man. And he's going to be using these devils to do so. Going back to Psalm 17:13. Going to that sword, man. So, Lord, you're edifying, quick lesson through His Spirit. It's going to the chaos that has been erupting and taking place over there in China. And we're taking another example and a sign of what's come over here to Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. Hope and pray you're edified. I do want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Kakdash, the bars of the apostles, and elders, great millstone for teaching us His truth, peace and blessings to hope like Israel, and shalom. Thanks for the Lord.